as the light descends into your midst, the white fire of purity, the mother light that turns worlds, we stand together to radiate our momentum of God consciousness as the God and Goddess Meru you have come to know as the Manu of the sixth race. Understanding that many are yet to have the coursing through their spinal altar, the white fire, accelerating their vehicles of consciousness and drawing them into a greater rapport with the presence of God. When this occurs, it is unmistakable, and you will know it physically. Emotionally, you will be charged with the responsibility of holding your harmony and maintaining the peace within your members so that you might have the full benefit of that light, nourishing you, teaching you, instructing you in all ways, so that as it unfolds, not only in that moment, but in years to follow, you will have the understanding that the Mother Light has touched your very being, and as such, you have given birth to more of God, where you have allowed that light to flourish and bring forth of its own kind. Blessed hearts, far too many civilizations have come and gone upon the earth. I speak directly now to those of the sixth root race. For yes, blessed hearts, with the exception of those that are few that have made their ascension from the earth, the majority of the sixth root race is still in embodiment, and therefore you require the charging, the reinitialing by your own God presence of that Edenic blueprint that is the keynote of your God presence, and ultimately the archetypal pattern that we, the Manus, infused your mighty I Am presence with at your coming. Understanding that the trials that you go through in the course of one lifetime can oftentimes leave their scars if there is not a heart of fire for God, if there is not a calling forth sufficiently, and yes, garnering that mother light, so that that fire can consume the ills, the negativity, the scars that have been left in the wake of life. It was never intended that you would carry, as some badge of honor, scars from one lifetime to the next, carrying a martyrdom consciousness instead of a Christ consciousness. Blessed ones, the hand of God is extended to you. When your God presence determined that it was the desire of its heart to come into these octaves in which you now reside, it was known even then that the requirements for the return current to bring these bodies back in the ascension flame would be great, would require great striving, courage, but more so, a heart that would galvanize the light of God all about one, so that everything that was touched would take on that charge of the mighty I Am Presence, leaving the mark of God identity that would return to that heart flame and build a momentum of current, of light, that would then bring forth greater light. And as the circle of the figure-8 flow would move in, through, and around the vehicles of consciousness, there would be the understanding that the presence of God was nigh, and there was work to be done. Oh, how great is the glory of God! How insignificant is the negativity of the human ego, the human mind, when you consider, blessed ones, that throughout even just one lifetime, there are many that never feel the charge of their own mighty I Am Presence. They do not have the understanding to recognize the mind of God. There is not a welling up within their own heart of love of God that surpasses any earthly loves. This indeed is a sad state of affairs, for humanity must be awakened to the reality that the presence of God is right where they are. All of the gnashing of teeth, the flowing of tears, the anger, the disappointments, all of that can be banished on the instant when one elects to move with God in the earth. Your mighty I Am Presence did not build up bodies for you to wear in circumstances that would be treacherous, that would be neglected. Your presence has seen to every detail of what you need. Your heart flame is far more powerful than you have given it credit for. For many, they think that God is some far distant star that will someday shine upon them. But that is not so. Your mighty I Am Presence is as close as your own threefold flame of the heart. And that threefold flame is strong, courageous, wise, loving. For it carries the intrinsic nature of your own God presence right there within each plane of consciousness, tangible to the physical body, the emotional, the mental, the memory, Akasha. And therefore, all are able to wrap themselves in the flame of God at any time. Should you become discouraged, draw upon the flame of courage. Should you become fearful, dawn fearlessness flame by wisdom's ray, knowing that the Christic fire will bring about all of the fearlessness that you require, but in wisdom. And what of those that feel alone, thinking that surely there is no one upon earth that cares for them, loves them, or gives them any consideration? What is that to one that knows the love that is right within their own heart, fed daily by the hand of God? And those that find that they have no purpose upon earth, do you suppose that the mother light within you would leave you bereft of the ability to create, to bring forth of your own kind? Every creation is giving birth. When you adorn a canvas, when you fashion a garment, when you just look upon the landscape, the seascapes, the mountain ranges, and express God love, you are creating. For in those moments, there is an emanation of the white light coursing through and allowing for the support of the fabric required for the love of your own heart to be carried to its destination. In those moments, the hierarchy and the elemental forces of nature are appreciating that love and the light that is extended to them, understanding that where that light is, they desire to serve. This is why, blessed ones, you are in a most beautiful earth, much to be appreciated when you take the time to look about, to breathe it in as the pranic breath of life, as the Manus of the sixth race. We understand the necessity of breathing in the rarefied atmosphere of your own God presence as well. For in doing so, you begin to paint the fabric of your identity as the presence of God within the physical body and all of the subplanes of the physical body, the emotional body and those subplanes, the mental body and those subplanes. And each layer, building one upon the other, is expressing God quality and virtue that is giving birth to the mother light. And as we stand in our retreats, holding the focus of the mother light, we know well when there are those consciously directing that light in an additional onrush of fire, because they have learned to call forth that light, to utilize that light wisely. And when there is a respite of the creativity, to guard that light in a fortress of blue flame of protection, of love, so that there is only the wise use of the mother light. Mankind has taken the misuse of the mother light as far as we are willing for it to go. And therefore, when the students of the light, the sons and daughters of God, charged with the responsibility to stand in their own Christ light, call forth the protection of this light in those who are the budding students on the path, those who have vowed at inner levels to come forth to hold the balance for the earth. Then, blessed ones, you will begin to see the shifting of the tide of those momentums back into a purer way of life, where there is the honor and the respect of what has been given so freely. O blessed hearts, how glorious is the day when even one student of the light begins the process of elevating that light back into the presence, feeding that light into each of the spiritual centers, creating a foundation upon which the threefold flame resides, and allowing that light to be ready at any moment of any day to respond to the will of God. This, blessed hearts, is a tribute to the work that has already gone on upon the earth, to bring the attention of each one of these sincere students to the understanding of the importance of the Mother Light. How glorious indeed it will be when there are millions of life streams upon the earth, holding fast to the teachings of the ascended masters and bringing to the fore their talents, their momentums of God consciousness that have been locked away for lack of bringing forth a vehicle that would be prepared to receive the charge of light from their own God presence that was required in the hour when you love God. You love God in all of life. You cannot separate out parts of life that you do not love. For in the allness of God, even at the core of those negativities that are present, those desecrations of God in the earth, when all of that negativity is released by the violet flame and consumed, that pattern of God identity is at the core, and there is purity. There is the divine pattern that is a part of the body of God, of the God consciousness that streamed forth an idea that was worthy. But in the course of that idea coming into manifestation, there was amalgamation of all manner of energies, silting over that purity, encasing that which is the spark of light and God consciousness. So you see, blessed hearts, apply that to yourself. For those who desire to heap upon themselves condemnation, do you think for one moment that your mighty I Am presence will forever listen to your complaining about yourself? Look at where you are in life. Is your consciousness giving the benefit of your mighty I Am presence to those around you? Are you sharing the energy of your God presence when you walk in the room? Have you determined that God is not where you are? You have a threefold flame upon the altar of your heart. You have health, even though there may be those nagging maladies of the flesh. Nonetheless, you are alive. Let that heart flame expand. Take down the barriers that are keeping you from becoming that Christ that you were intended to be. No karma is too great, no circumstance in the earth impossible to overcome when you have the light of God. And when the mother light is freely extended to you, take it to yourself and allow it to free your own heart flame. Allow it to give you the encouragement to invoke the violet flame, the emerald matrix, the ruby fire, so that those seeming limitations that you complain about so much will be no more, and you will discover them for what they were. Only a negative thought, only a negative occurrence that you continued to feed into with your energy that your presence has given you to bring forth the presence of God in your temple. With the polarity of the white fire that is within your being, the threefold flame of the heart, the golden light of the crown, the action that can occur right within your own vehicles of expression in the physical octaves, can be a triangulation of the light that allows your God presence to play upon those strings of the heart, the wisdom of your crown, and the creativity of the mother light, and bring to the fore something beautiful, something worthy, something holy, something of God good. Is that not worth banishing into the violet consuming flame forever all sense of limitation? You were promised that this conclave of light would bring you greater understanding of how to climb that ladder of attainment and reach the pinnacle of God desiring for your life stream. It begins with purification. Throw out those things in your life that you know bring your physical body ill, or reverberate in your emotional body, creating anxiousness, agitation, inharmony in all forms, that putrefy the mind. allowing it to be subjective to all manner of riptides of thought that are all about, and begin to invoke the light of God, and allow that light to heal you, comfort you, fill you with the charge of light sufficient that you will not desire to gravitate to any lesser state of consciousness or being. For in the knowing that you can take command, that you can become the Christ, that you can dawn the white light of the mother flame right where you are, should bring you great comfort. For blessed hearts, you have what it takes to master time and space. That means this physical body that you wear, the emotional body or mental body, or the memories that are still lodged there of your returning karma. There are solutions to each one of those ills. And you can prepare your chalice to receive the light promised you by your presence. But in the rebellion of these outer vehicles, the presence has not dared to give you more light to misuse. So if there are ills, do not cast about to blame another. Look to yourself. What must you do to change your actions, your thoughts, your energy, so that when you do make the call to your presence, which should be daily and hourly if necessary, you receive the return current that you knew all along would come if you merely made the call. Now the grace of God is always there for the innocent, caught in whirlwinds of negativity and riptides of human thought and feeling, unaware until such time as they are taught how to take command of their life. When they have the rod of power and the wisdom with which to guide that power, there is no stopping that one in fulfilling the divine attributes of the presence. You have had many incarnations, and there have been many victories in those incarnations. What is stopping you from continuing the constancy of your manifesting the victories at every turn? Perhaps they are occurring as we speak, but perhaps there are those that are yet to experience the knowing when a victory has occurred, and it may not be something that anyone else on the planet would recognize, save you and your own God presence, and perhaps the holy angels or your ascended master sponsor will know. But that is enough. You know in your heart that it has been a victory. You have put into the flame your human ego, therefore it does not require the stroking and adulation of mankind to tell you that you are in your right place at the right time and cycle, performing exactly what your presence desires and allowing that presence to flow through you. If that is not your circumstance, if you have not had that revelation within your own heart, then call upon the Lord, your mighty I Am Presence, to guide you immediately to those circumstances in your life that will allow you to have that closer walk with the presence of God. Throw away the human tendencies and allow for that divine, aspiring threefold flame of your heart to take command of your life. Now I am most certain there are those that even now in my presence are foolish enough to think that, well, that is easy for a Manu to say, but I am an embodiment wearing this karma or this responsibility that I did not feel I should have. Oh, Blessed One, you have that responsibility. Quit ignoring what is right before you and allow for the light of God to flow through you and to feed into that responsibility, the right action, the right satisfaction of your heart flame that you have performed the task that your presence desired. You have maintained your responsibilities. You have taken authority for your circumstances. And the more that you give the calls, the more you will find the balance of those responsibilities that you did not wisely entertain. You will see, blessed hearts, how seemingly effortless they dissipate. And then you can begin to understand when you are taking responsibility for your life, it means that you are allowing the presence of God to be involved in your life. It does not mean that these outer vehicles will forever and a day be required to sweat and labor without any surcease of the pain. It means, blessed hearts, that you begin to put on the garment of the Lord, and you allow for the light of God to buoy you up, to be that one that holds your arm up should the labor be too tasking, or to fill your lungs with enough prana that you are able to have greater strength and clarity of mind, so that you can keep on, keeping on, holding the flame for those things that are in your purview that you can change, that you can assist, that you can create, that you can bring to the fore as the manifestation of the God identity that your presence is. My beloved and I stand always at our altar together, for we understand the triangulation of our flame with the God flame that is invoking cosmic light for the earth. And that cosmic light will not be denied wherever it comes into any plane of consciousness. It will descend and move through. There is no rejecting it. There is no putting off to another day until you receive it. In our presence, that light is here. And when that light comes forth from our retreat, the earth moves. when there is an infusion of the mother light in your vehicles of consciousness, you move. You are no longer the same life stream, for you begin to take on more of those patterns of your mighty I Am presence. For when that light, that your presence has drawn from our retreat for your benefit, there is a shift in your currents. For the great magnet of the Mother Fire requires that you stand tall and straight, that you have clarity of mind, that you are willing to embrace life with all of the enthusiasm and the gusto of one that is ofttimes thought of as a youth, regardless of your age. And you love God beyond all measure, for it is the love of God that has allowed this mother light to infuse your life, to bring the abundance of life, the joys, the loves, the expressions of God consciousness that are all about you. When you know this, through and through, every cell of your physical body drinks in the light, spins a little faster, hums the keynote tone of your own God presence. And that vibration and that tone precede you when you are about to enter a room. It catches others up in your joy flame, in your love of God, in your intoning purity. Regardless of your keynote, it is pure. Unlike those that always have negativity swarming about them, that no one really likes to be near. Oh, blessed hearts, it is always our joy to come, not only to address the students of the light, but likewise every mighty I Am presence that is presently holding fast to its heart flame in incarnation, and those between embodiments that are waiting the signal from their God presence that the time is nigh for them to re-embody. All know when we come, for they desire to be blessed by this light. Understanding this, blessed hearts, you will desire to hold fast to every erg of the energy, every teaching and instruction, every consciousness that comes forth from our addresses as long as possible. For the longer that you nurture them, place your attention upon them, protect them, feed the light of your own heart flame into them, and have that balancing back and forth of to and fro of the threefold flame of your heart with our light, there is great acceleration that can occur for your life stream. Let the mother light be where you are. You came forth filled with this light, with all purpose and divine intent to utilize this light, fully knowing that it would never leave you, for the flow of the mother light was constant, steadfast, and therefore you were protected, secure, that the day of your becoming would happen. That becoming, blessed ones, of the ascent into your Christhood and ultimately your ascension in the light. When you came forth, you heard the strains of the angels and the great symphony of choirs, sending you forth to remember your high and holy calling. And you vowed to remember that you would not forget, repeating over and over, I will return, until your voices faded away and only the echo could be heard. We have maintained the record of that event to revivify over and over again, so that you would not forget, so that your heart would yearn for home, so that you would be drawn to the great magnet of the heart of God, and that you would have all your days that remembrance. As you go forth from this moment on, remember your vow, your commitment, not only to the mighty I Am Presence, for it was indeed your presence that was repeating the call. But remember the hierarchy, those that love you, those that have looked after you with mercy, with blessing, with dispensation throughout the ages, till you could be awakened in your physical bodies, sufficient to grasp the light and hold on for all eternity, never letting go again. Let this be the cycle in which your outer life changes, and you examine what you can do to become more of your Christhood, accelerating your path. Yes, the mountain is steep, and many times it is uncomfortable in that rarefied atmosphere of the charge of God consciousness as you take on new vistas. But blessed hearts, it is only because you have been so long from home. You will become accustomed to the air, to the mind of God, to the charge of light, to the clarity, the courage, and the fearlessness. And all will be well. Uphold the light of God in your life, for we await your return in the ascension. We will hold our post in our retreat, so that you always can depend on the anchor of the mother light that we establish. Go forward from this time, proclaiming that you are the presence of God in action, and you are awake.